Imagine, for a moment, a planet just like ours, but without the familiar shape of continents breaking up the vast expanse of the seas. This Earth has no land, no mountains rising from the surface, no plains, no deserts, no forests. The entire surface of the planet is one massive, unbroken ocean. From space, it would look like an immense blue marble, serene, beautiful, and endless. But beneath this placid surface, the entire dynamic of life, climate, and even the fate of the planet would be forever altered. Earth, as we know it, is shaped by land. Land creates the seasons, drives the movement of the atmosphere, and provides the foundation for life. Without it, everything changes. How would life evolve? Could civilization exist? What kind of future would this world face? Let's explore. Without land, the surface of the planet would be a vast, unbroken ocean, constantly moving with the forces of wind and water. The ocean's role in regulating temperature and weather would become even more important. Typically, land absorbs heat from the sun, which then warms the atmosphere, while oceans act as heat sinks. Without continents to temper this, the temperature extremes would be more pronounced. The equator would be unbearably hot, while the poles would become even more frozen. Imagine an Earth where the sun's heat is absorbed by an ocean that never cools, where the tropical waters are a blistering furnace. And without land masses to break up air currents, we'd see wind patterns behaving unpredictably, creating violent storms that rage across the surface, uncontained by any natural boundaries. The winds would be free to sweep across the entire planet, forming massive storms that never dissipate. Without land masses to disrupt ocean currents, the force of nature would be magnified. Hurricanes, tornadoes, and typhoons would become global phenomena, raging with intensity unimpeded by shorelines, and even more destructive than the storms we know today. In this world, weather would not be predictable or tame. It would be a ceaseless force of nature that both shapes and threatens life, and humans would need to find ways to navigate, survive, and even harness this raw power. Below the surface, life would evolve to take full advantage of the immense, water-filled world. Without land to anchor ecosystems, every creature would have to adapt to life in the water, constantly shifting, constantly moving. The oceans would teem with life, and with no dry land to restrict or separate species, marine ecosystems would be vast and interconnected. But what would this world look like? With no land to offer refuge, coral reefs might be sparse, perhaps only pockets of life scattered across the deep ocean floor. Instead, life would congregate around the ocean's natural wonders, hydrothermal vents deep beneath the surface, where the heat of the Earth's core spills into the ocean, fueling a unique and diverse array of creatures. Far from the reach of sunlight, creatures would adapt to the deep, living in perpetual darkness. Bioluminescence, the ability to produce light, would become essential for communication, hunting, and mating. Entire ecosystems would revolve around the immense pressures of the deep, and life here would be dramatically different from anything on land. Instead of relying on sunlight, life would be powered by chemosynthesis, an entirely different form of photosynthesis, using the minerals and chemicals in the water to fuel their existence. For humanity, surviving on a planet with no land would be an unimaginable challenge. Without continents to anchor us, the only option for survival would be floating cities, technologically advanced hubs built upon vast platforms, supported by the ocean's constant movement. Floating islands of steel, glass, and ingenuity would house populations, perhaps connected by bridges, networks of submarines, or high-tech aquatic vehicles. Here, humanity would adapt in ways we can't fully envision. Instead of agriculture as we know it, we would rely on aquaculture, farming fish, seaweed, and other marine organisms for food. Underwater cities could become our refuge, deep beneath the waves where we would use geothermal vents for energy, and advanced filtration systems would provide the oxygen we need to breathe. But life in these cities would not be easy. Every day would be a battle against the relentless forces of the ocean. Buildings would have to be engineered to withstand the crushing pressure of the deep and the unpredictability of the water's movement. Our survival would depend on innovation and resilience. As we descend deeper into the ocean, the landscape changes. The ocean's depths are a world of darkness, silence, and crushing pressure. It's a place where only the hardiest of creatures can survive. Imagine an entire planet where life is confined to this vast and endless sea, with no refuge on land to seek. The pressure at these depths is unimaginable, thousands of pounds per square inch, yet life continues to thrive in ways we can barely understand. Creatures here don't live by sunlight. They live by the geothermal heat, the nutrients carried by ocean currents, and the unique ways in which life can adapt to the harshest conditions. Here, strange, otherworldly creatures would evolve. Giant squid, enormous whales, and even strange jellyfish-like organisms could dominate the depths. Their entire existence would revolve around survival in a world of extreme pressure, darkness, and near-freezing temperatures. Life in these depths would need to be highly specialized to withstand the vast, crushing weight of the ocean, and these creatures would likely never surface to see the sunlight. On a planet where land doesn't exist, ecosystems would be more interconnected than ever. The oceans would regulate life, distribute nutrients, and create currents that control everything from weather to the distribution of species. Without land to provide stability, this balance would be delicate, constantly shifting. The smallest change, whether it be a shift in ocean temperatures, a change in current patterns, or a sudden increase in pollution, could ripple through the entire planet's ecosystems, disrupting everything from microscopic plankton to the largest marine mammals. The oceans are a complex system. Every fish, every plant, every microbe is part of an intricate web. In this aquatic Earth, nothing would remain static for long. Species would migrate in search of food. Some would evolve at an accelerated pace, and others would struggle to adapt. The balance of life would be fragile, and with no land to act as a stabilizer, every change in the ocean's currents or temperature could lead to catastrophic shifts in the planet's ecosystems. Over time, Earth's oceans would evolve. Without the influence of land to guide evolution, life would develop in completely unique ways. Would land-based life forms ever emerge? Perhaps not. In this world, evolution would follow a path dictated solely by the ocean, by water pressure, temperature, and the flow of currents. Life would become ever more specialized, adapted to survive in the vast, unbroken sea. Some species would become masters of the depths, while others would dominate the surface. In a world where the Earth is nothing but water, humanity would be forced to adapt. The oceans would dictate every aspect of life, from the food we eat to the air we breathe. Technology and ingenuity would keep us afloat, literally and figuratively. But even with our innovations, life would always be a struggle against the relentless power of the sea. This is a world where every decision, every change, would be influenced by the endless expanse of water that surrounds us. And ultimately, the question remains, could we truly thrive, or would the ocean simply reclaim this planet as it has done for millions of years before us? In the end, a water-covered Earth would not be a place we could easily call home. It would be a world defined by its mysteries, where the line between survival and extinction is as fluid as the water itself.